Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. Again, although I should be painting but I'm not. I might turn that down actually. There's a disclaimer at the start of the podcast because I do swear. There's a very good reason I'm in a car right now. There's also a disclaimer because I swear and I talk about sensitive topics. So if you don't want to hear me talking about sensitive topics, this one might definitely be one of them. I suggest changing the channel, listening to something else, or you could just take it with a grain of salt that this is an opinion and not a fact, or maybe it is a fact, who knows. Everything's open to interpretation. But it's just shower thoughts, so I wouldn't take it seriously. It's not gospel, it's just me craptacularing on about shit I know some things about, but not everything about, so there's obviously got to be someone who can talk about it better than me, so I wouldn't take it that seriously. Topic for today is now the reason we're in a car again, and I'm so sorry because I keep meaning to sit down and do my painting, but again I'm still snatching time where I can. I know that's too loud. I'm currently driving up to a family lunch at my parents' farm. Because my dad is now out of the serious hospital, but potentially heading into a different hospital. We know, because he's not well, he's got bowel cancer, but we know right now that it's malignant and he is stage 4. That's what we know so far from the doctors and the oncologists. So we don't know where it might have spread to. We do know that it is spreading. So that's where my head is right now. Besides, working full time and running businesses and shit like that, I've now got my dad there as well, which is not a great relationship, but it's still something. So, hence the reason I'm traveling this way to my parents' farm, just to check up on them. We're having a family lunch, so all my siblings are going to be there as well as my nieces, and you never know if this could be the last one. So better we all be here. And my sister Pookie's still here till tomorrow, so she's flying out again tomorrow to Melbourne over east. Although she's living in the UK right now, she's going Melbourne and then she's going Vietnam and then she's heading for some reason she's going to Vietnam for a 2-week holiday and then she's going back to the UK. So it's full on and a bit busy, so I got to pick a topic that's a long one because this is about an hour or so driving to my parents' farm. So the topic I chose today is war, which is very current right now, considering there's a shitload of it running around. It's a bit contagious, you might say. I hope it's not. I thought we'd outgrown this shit, but apparently we haven't as adults, so it is. I would want to say that it's a necessary evil, but it's not. It's a failure of leadership to me, because I'm pretty much pacifist to a degree. I have no reason to see why government should go against our own basic human survival instincts of not wanting to hurt each other and die, or ourselves hurt each other, and put our energies into the practices of hurting each other. It just doesn't make sense. It goes against our survival instincts. So, it's a failure of leadership. Ultimately, it's one person's idea of what should happen. This is, my ideology, and we should do this, and therefore I'm willing to sacrifice you to get it done. And it's a weird political climate as well, because I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out who's working with who, and it's very fucking mixed to this point, because they'll do some kind of little social thing, like on a media platform or something like that, to try and garner support from the public, and it's across several countries. It's not just one country at this point, it's several countries, and I've been watching them all. I'm sitting going, oh, that seems like a nice little flag for the kids to hold on to. But then they go and do something completely horrible in another country or in a different place or in their own place, but then they cover it up with something, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck? Why would you do that? it's as I said before, it's all sleight of hand. It's I want to do something, I don't want to look like a bad guy doing it, so I'm going to do a small something that's nice, or seemingly nice, so I can do the bad thing in the background, and then, you know, someone will say, oh, but he must have our best interest in mind because he did this small thing for us up front, which is utterly bullshit. It's tokenism. It's just saying, here's something nice, here's a little treat. I'm still going to smack your ass, but here's a treat. You know, you start actually associating that treat, which is a nice thing, with physical abuse, it's going to get you a little bit fucked up in the head. You start to normalize the fucked up treatment and go, ooh, maybe I'll turn on by this. Or is that just kinkology? Grown men like spanking, it's very odd. You've got mummy issues, haven't you? Maybe daddy issues. But, you know, it's all subterfuge. And when you try and do the right thing and be transparent about what you want to do, like I'm, at the moment, the only leader I can see on the board right now, and that includes Australia, is fucking Zelensky. I'm sitting there, he seems to be the only one that's doing his job. And I've had a soft spot for Ukraine for a while, right before the Russians started picking on him. But because they're a bit of a breadbasket, and they're a very nice, flowery kind of cultural people normally when they're not under, you know, such duress. But this is ridiculous. Watching them get invaded by Russia. I mean, it's like punching a really nice person in the face. It doesn't make sense. It's like, well, why did you do that? And Russia's sitting there going, well, they picked on us. It's like, they didn't fucking pick on you. They smiled at you and you hit them. It doesn't make sense. It's disturbing. But you know, they're doing really well with it, and they're equipped to handle the situation pretty fucking well. So I'm pretty impressed by the way they've held out. And they're, you know, I'm chuffed. They're doing so well because they weren't working with much to begin with. And they're adapting their skills, and they're adapting their resources, what they've got, and everybody's sort of pitching in, and they're doing really, really well. So I was thoroughly impressed with the way they worked out. They've even got to the point where they're now invading Russia, and I'm going, well, I'm turning the other cheek at this point, you know, because you started it. That's the problem. Russia thinks it's invincible, and it's not. The economy's fucked. I don't know why you started this shit when everybody was sick and only just recovering from the fucking Cold War. I mean, who egged him on to start this? And at this point, I'm beginning to think it's structuralist rather intentionalist. Which is the debate we had when Hitler invaded Poland and all that. It's like, was it intentionalist? He was, you know, intent on invading Poland because he's just a bad guy. Or was it those around him that egged him on to do it? That's structuralist. I'm beginning to think it was structuralist at this point. Nobody said no. No one said this is a bad idea. No one said, hey, fuck it, don't do this so late in your life. Stick to fishing. Just go and do some fishing, some shooting or something, you know. Because generally, Putin should be in a cabin somewhere fishing, but instead, not only was he recovering from cancer at the time, if he is covered at all, he's not physically fit to lead at this point. He's not physically fit to stand the fuck up. He's got tremors and everything. I mean, didn't he shit his pants sliding down some stairs or something? I'm going, are you sure you should be doing this? It stands to reason. It seems to be, on a global scale, all these people that are picking fights, not all of them, because you still got people like Hamas, that are picking fights, tend to be of a certain age group and sex, shall we say. And it appeals to be a sort of a boomer bucket list. I'm sitting there going, someone's trying to live out their last days to get notoriety or immortality. But it's not going to turn out well, because at this age, it's all they're known for is just how embarrassing you are. It's not like you're some great leader. You know, it's you're doing dumb shit and hurting people. The mindset of the people globally has changed. Nobody fucking wants war anymore. It should be obsolete. We're all tired. We're hungry. We've got no money for this. Everybody's sick from Wuhan still, and we're fucking over it, quite frankly. You should have done that. But, you know, the climate for war kicking up, even though they do say in the midst of chaos there's opportunity, and yes, Wuhan did cause chaos economically, and then, you know, Putin fucked up with the gas lines. it wasn't the right kind of chaos that would actually produce anything constructive in terms of getting the job done. If you wanted to invade Ukraine, for example, or if you wanted to, I don't know, hack Wi-Fi and shit like that, it's still chaotic, but at the same time, it's not helpful chaos. Why are you doing this? Idiot. They don't like merge lanes in Australia. Just undertook me on the left. Get on the bits. What is going on today? I swear there's something in the ether today. Something that's aggressive. They do not like each other today. Anyway, that's why I stay home. I don't like people. But the climate was ridiculous. In order to host a war, in order to keep it going, you need to have funding. There was no funding when the economy's fucked. There's no funding for war. You need people. There's no people. Everyone's sick and tired and dying from Wuhan flu. I call it Wuhan flu because that's where we thought it originated from. If it didn't, then I'm wrong. Of course, call it something else. That was just the geological place, or geographical place, I should say. You need people. There's no people. You need money. There's no money. You need the drive and the psyche of the people to be on board. Everybody hates the government at this point because they're all assholes because of the way they reacted to the Wuhan flu. It's like you don't have the basis for hosting a war. You just don't have it. It's not there. What you do have is the basis for an uprising because you've got a lot of people with nothing to lose at this point, and you've just pissed them off and told them that they have to be patriotic to a government that's fucking them. So I don't know whose idea this was. It's like they're obviously very disconnected from the people at this point. The grounds for actioning any kind of aggression on an international scale just isn't fucking there. Everybody hates the idea of war because we're all tired and sick. There's nothing to benefit from invading another country like what Bush did with the Iraq war. He claimed there was terrorists there. There might have been, but mainly he went for the oil fields. It's like there's nothing to claim as far as I can see. I mean, Russia invading Ukraine is like the breadbasket. There's mineral deposits there, but at the same time, given the trade relations, the reputation of Russia, for example, no one's going to do business with someone so crooked. You know, it's just not there. Nobody's going to buy this shit. I thought it was hilarious that I was able to predict that someone would want to demolish Gaza Strip to build condos, and then Trump made that video about it. I'm going, what the fuck? You mean I was right? That's insane. You're actually that way inclined? Oh, look, they're doing battles. But it was the ridiculousness of the situation. I mean, to a degree, I thought, well, yeah, they're going to level it, obviously, if they don't stop it now, because it's ridiculous. But at the same time, then, you know, I don't know if that's serious. Honestly, I'm in two minds whether that was a hack or not. Somebody made like an AI video saying, we're going to make this, and we're going to do this to Gaza Strip. I'm just, it could be propaganda spread by an anti-Trump arrangement, should we say, but at the same time, given his background and what he does for business, I wouldn't put it past him. You know, I'm going, I know you're cheap. I know you think cheap. I know you'd do something stupid like that. It's like, it's within your realm to be that stupid. You know, and I've been watching the way they react to election details and all this signing of papers and things like that. Him and his posse. It's like you somehow in your mind think you're some god to humanity at this point, and I don't know why. The other countries who are outside of America, who aren't huffing their own ass paint, believe he's a joke. He's a joke. My dad supports Trump, but only because he's been watching what he's been doing, what the joke elements of it are. You know how like old people these days? My dad's like 69. He's been watching the fake news. I mean, Trump coined it, didn't he? Trump fake news. But he's been watching that, and you can tell it's fake because you're looking at who's making it, going, well, that's not fucking credible at all. And he's going, oh my god, Trump's doing the best thing. Yeah, he's doing the best. He's cornering them. He's forcing them to do something. It's like, yeah, this isn't going to end well if he manages to pull it off. It's stupid. All he's doing is standing up and saying I'm an arrogant, pushy asshole and I'm controlling. It doesn't work when you need that political finesse and benevolence when it comes to other countries and their leaders. It's like you don't just stampede on shit and assume that you're the best. It's embarrassing. You show some humility, civility, and that you need to deal with other people. Using your words, not brute force and just assuming, I'm great, you should all fucking do what I say. Or I'm fucking awesome. And it's like, no. It's this Americanism shit that we hate. The loudness, the arrogance that makes us turn against you. I mean, the British have hated that shit for ages, ever since like the Second World War, where we had all the American soldiers and sailors come over to Britain, and it was like bloody Yanks. And it's still there in the psyche as well, because it's like they're just so loud and it's like, why are you like that? You've got no self-respect and sort of humility. You think you're the best, but you haven't done anything yet. Which is interesting. It's a little bit too cocky without substance. You know, what do they call it, Mogadishu or something like that? Or is that a place? I don't know. It's just too cocky. And I know the English are more, well, I say the English, but the British are a bit more reserved when it comes to bragging about shit they haven't achieved yet. So, but, you know, you get some man, I say man, standing up on a podium who's wearing more foundation than I do, and it's the wrong colour, and they're saying how wonderful it is, and you can tell he's schmoozing them. And I look at his gestures, and it's gonna be okay. And he's sitting there going, he's fucking schmoozing you. It's so generic. He's schmoozing you. It's like I'm sitting there going, I know this one. You think about a car salesman. What hands gestures does he do to try and get you to sell this car? It's great, this car. You know, he's in there, and I'm listening to cadence in his voice, and I'm sitting there going, he's schmoozing you, and you're eating it up. He's literally selling you something, and it's a lie. It's hilarious. But it's entertaining to watch, and I think half of the fight is him being so ridiculous on the stage that people are like, well, fuck it, we gave Schwarzenegger a go, let's give this guy a go, and so we got in, and then you're like, alright, I can't believe he got in. A second time. But he seems to be taking things a bit more aggressively this time. Now, I haven't read through all the things he's signed off on, and I'm actually interested to get involved and look at what he's signed off on, because so far he's just screwing over his own people several times. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the first time he got through, he was willing to walk himself into nearly 3 wars already. Picked on China. There was someone in the Middle East as well. And I'm pretty sure there was a third person. In the first 4 years, he got involved. I'm sitting there going, if that wasn't a forewarning as to what he wants to do, I don't know how to help you. And did he fix the economy? No. Did he make it great in that 4 years? No. So what makes you think he's going to make it great in these 4 years? If he is alive enough for those 4 years. Because, you know, anything could happen at this point. I'm seeing a lot of signs where he's trying to replicate a JFK kind of persona. What with the foundation and the photographs of X under the table, just like JFK Jr. or whatever. From the 60s, 70s, I'm sitting there going, you are trying to make yourself out to be a JFK. Now, people actually like JFK only because they didn't know what he was. If they had known who this person was at the time and not about, if they actually known about his personal life instead of just huffing the PR stunts that were collectively presenting him as someone who was willing, you know, willing to be a leader and who was perfect for the job and who was a good guy, who was just homegrown American, all American shit, which is what they ate up in that time period because they didn't understand what the fuck was going on properly. Release the JFK files, unedited. I want to know who was involved with who at the time. Absolutely. Now he's probably going to, even if he does release those files, he's probably going to edit the fuck out of them to make it fit with his agenda and what he's trying to push, because that's what they do. That's how propaganda spends. It's misinformation, but it's, you know, a biased account of what happened. I want the unedited documents. I want to see exactly what the fuck went down. Same as with the Epstein files. I want to know exactly who was on his plane. You know, there's so many things he's trying to do to make it look like he's trying to help the American people. At the same time, he could be incriminating himself. All it takes is a slip of the tongue. It's like, you will hang yourself with your own rope. Let's have a look. I want to see how tight this noose is going to be. But you can see what he's doing. He's done the typical thing of pointing out that a certain group of people are bad. Hitler did it with Jewish people, he did it with disabled people, he did it with people of color, gypsies, right? Gypsies. What did I say? Disabled people, gay people, he did it with gay people. It's called like the Purple Triangle or something like that. If you go back through history and look at the minorities that he collected as a leader and, you know, got rid of because it didn't fit in with the uber masculine Aryan shit he was trying to promote, it was all the minorities that currently Trump is trying to get rid of, or, you know, at least affect in a negative way. And you need to pick up on that shit because history is repeating itself, it seems. DEI, where he doesn't want to help anyone. He's like, I don't want to help anyone. But what if they're just naturally born deaf or blind or something like that? I don't want to help them. What about autistics? There's no autism. Why not? Because we stopped testing. It's exactly what he did with COVID. He said there's no COVID. Why? Because we stopped testing. And we couldn't find any traces of it. Yeah, because you stopped testing. It's like, it's there. Measles is now in Texas because, you know, people are so better off there medically. So he's doing, seemingly, he's a bad leader. He is an emperor in reverse. He has all the power and control of the situation. If we're talking in tarot terms, he's an emperor in reverse. He has control of the situation, but not in a good way. It's like it's not good. People are getting sick. People are going to die. People are getting homeless. There's already things like fentanyl and drugs in the streets. So once they become homeless, they might turn to drugs and substance abuse. They may get knocked out, you know, double tap in one hit through taking fentanyl or something like that. He's just trying, it feels like he's trying to kill off the people, and I don't know why. And it seems to be people under a certain financial wage bracket. There's no healthcare services to help them. There's no rehabilitation because he got rid of DEI. ICE is coming and taking all the Mexicans, apparently. Not all of them, of course. Only the ones that are not paying taxes. He's like, we don't care about the ones that aren't paying taxes as long as they're paying our taxes. He's giving out a gold credit card to millionaires who are essentially oligarchs. He's like, you can come over, and how much political voice will they have while Trump's in office? It's like, you can't, he wants to be Russia. There's been a Cold War for as long as we can remember. He's one that's actually embracing it. He's, you know, he's not going to be able to be called a communist. He could be called a fascist at this point. Because Putin's not acting as a communist, he's acting as a fascist. Once you start controlling the media, you know, controlling the votes. It's like, people can physically go vote, yes, but the data that's collected, how do we know it's not manipulated to actually make sure that this person gets in office again, repeatedly? I mean, how many years has Putin been going in office, and people just conveniently, despite a fucked up economy and a lot of pressure and people going missing, people conveniently want him there. It's like, it feels rigged. So, you know, it's the white elephant in the room, essentially. But I feel Trump that he's going the same way, because suddenly they're best friends. We can fix this war, but notice how all the things that they're fixing is actually in favor of Russia and not actually Zelensky's people. And he's going to make a mint out of some minerals deal, which was meant to be government aid, but now they have to apparently pay back. I'm glad Steve walked on that one. It's like, don't, because the world recognizes that aid that Zelensky got as aid. It was not a case of, you have to pay us back, or, you know, we will only help you if you do this, if we can get your minerals, if you guarantee trade relations with the minerals and shit like that. It's like, no, dude, it's, as long as he's trying to do the right thing, meeting with him, it's like, don't even, I wouldn't bother. It's like, he's gonna double cross you so hard. Because that's all it is. He peaked in the 80s, which was the stock exchange revenge, me first, yuppie greed era. Everybody else can go fuck themselves. Only me and my own will survive. And it's bullshit, because you forget, you're a minority in that respect. The world is the majority. Safety in numbers for that way, yeah. Trump isn't protected. He's not protected in any way he thinks he is, because of laws, but laws he's not following. He's surrounded by security people. Common people outnumber them. There's only so much a certain amount of security people can do. Physically, the people outnumber them. If they get swarmed, they get swarmed. You've got no safety. He thinks he's going to run to the bunker. He's pissed off that many people in his own party. They'll probably hand him over. It's like, you can't run from shitting on your own people. You just can't. Hitler topped himself, supposedly, by shooting himself in the head in his bunker with not Eva Gardner, Eva Braun. Supposedly, some people assume that he fucked off to Argentina and lived out his days there and staged his death. But you never know, It's like, you're not safe from your own people. Eventually you will get found. They got that, what was his name? That Iraq guy. And Obama. Osama bin Laden. Sorry, not Obama. Osama bin Laden. We like Obama. We don't like Osama. But there's been so many people that have negatively affected their own people, and they've been just found and removed. They might have been running by the laws that they created. That's not saying those laws were effective. Remember that laws are abstract components of society. They're not concrete. They only exist because of the will of the people. If the will of the people is that fucked over that the people start questioning if the laws should exist, then the whole game's up, isn't it? So I think he needs to be a bit more fucking careful. And then, walking into some kind of... What was he saying? He was saying that Zelensky was gambling with World War III. I'm sitting there going, no. Zelensky's holding out. Zelensky's the Hodor. Like Game of Thrones? He's holding the door, so Putin doesn't fuck off into Lithuania. He's already got Belarus on books. He's holding the door against him, and we should be funding it, to be honest. At least until Putin, kicks the bucket, because he's not got much longer now. From what I can see, his own party doesn't really support him. It's more like they're afraid of what his command will be. Unfortunately, what they did was elevate a nutter to top position. Whether he did it by fear-mongering or by... Because they don't actually support that shit. I mean, his own security detail was at Wagner turned on him. Like, they just don't like this. And now Putin's the face of it, so of course he's going to be the scapegoat of it. So it's ridiculous that it's got this far. And all it was a dick measuring contest. And a bucket list. It's, okay, so I've got cancer, this is the one thing I want to do before I die, is to reopen the USSR, which won't happen because the countries don't feel the same way. So we're not doing this again, it fucked up the first time. I mean, wars only ever fuck up economies, so it couldn't have been to grow his economy. It costs money to wage a war, it's stupid, you don't have it. I mean, it was some kind of idea that he had in his head where he peaked in his 30s, 40s. When was the Cold War? You peaked already and you want to relive it before you die. That's essentially what it is. Trump's doing the same thing with his Wall Street bullshit, except instead of having a fucking business to fuck over, now he's got a country's purse strings and a world stage instead of just a business stage. It's like, these people are of an age where they should have been retired by now. They're all past 65. 65 is retirement, isn't it? What the fuck are you still doing? It's like, shouldn't you be gone by now? It annoys me. It's a lot of men, white men, not willing to relinquish power to the to the next generation, because they haven't achieved it yet, what they want to do. And it's just, at this point, it's embarrassing. And then you got like Musk involved, who should have stuck with his first wife, to be honest. He had 5 kids by her, if she can tolerate his shit that long. While he's that fucking annoying, he should have stuck with her. And I've watched him during the Trump rallies and stuff like that. I'm going, I know what kind of an autistic you are. It's like, you should have stuck with her. You're batting above your weight with her. You should have stuck with her. But I was watching him and I'm going, this man is not serious about his job. He's really not serious. He's got like a chainsaw. I'm sitting there going, he's not serious about his job. You're pandering to the masses of MAGA people, which are not intellectually capable to begin with, who are eating up the propaganda that you're spreading because they're thick. Or they stand to benefit from those being in power, so maybe they're, you know. I think they need to go back to the basics of what republicanism is. I think, honestly, if Trump gets deposed, and he may, and all that, you know, Musk goes down, they're going to have to go back to the basics to make their political party credible. Because the legacy that people like Trump is leaving, and he can't live forever, even if he does stand these 4 years or however long he's tweaked that constitution to include him, it's not going to happen. They've lost all credibility with this one person who's just gone fucking nuts with power, essentially. Crazy. I find it interesting, though. I'm like, you know how Putin got to power by the Bolsheviks, essentially. The current party he's in now, or represents, is derivative of the Bolsheviks who topped the Romanovs. They invaded, they took over, they shot the whole royal family, all the links they had, all the political members which supported them, and so they gained power that way. He is surrounded by people who still replicate in their psyche, their political psyche, that mindset where if something is wrong or if something is oppressing them, kill it. You know? Same with China. They've got a militaristic culture as well. It's strange that they would push for such aggressive ways of dealing with their people. I find it odd. I mean, the best thing you can do is make your people happy so they don't feel compelled to revolt. If everyone's happy and everyone's comfortable, there's no reason to fight, is there? Everyone's just, you know, we all get squishy, maybe a bit drunk if you're that way inclined, and you just get on with your day. No, it's not a case of I'm tired, I'm cold, I haven't got a roof over my head, I'm angry because my job sucked, to do in a day, all to barely make ends meet. You know, fuck it, what have we got to lose if this is what our life is? Fine. Concept of patriotism we had back in the 40s is just not there anymore either. So if they're expecting their people to fight for the, you know, patriotic duty of their country, it's just not there. Things have changed thanks to the Vietnam War. We now know graphically with photos and first-hand accounts of what is actually involved in war. There's no illusion as to what it is. We've had global communications and social media telling us and showing us, and near enough getting us to live the lives of people who are having to live in these conflicts and go through these atrocities. And we know what it is. It's horrible, and we just don't want to do it anymore. It's become an outdated practice. And to be honest, it seems to be a bit backwards, those people who want to fight and to wage war on people. It's not needed, it's a waste. So it seems to be an older generation holding on to ideals which are outdated, just not needed anymore. You could ask any Gen Z, for example, if you think conscription is a good idea, and they'll say, we're not doing that. That could have stemmed from, the Vietnam era when everybody sort of was against conscription. Some went, some didn't. But at this point, no one's gonna do conscription. I can tell you that for a fact because everyone will tell you to fuck off. So we're not doing that. That's Gen Z. Not millennials. I don't know. Probably on board with that because it is a bit redundant. not the right place you need to be at this point. He does, to me, say some things that are right. But in the majority, he says a lot of fucked up shit. It's like he has a thread, and again, it's that sleight of hand. It's that I'm going to say something small that appeals to the masses, and then I'm going to, in the background say some outlandish shit that just doesn't make sense. And because you've agreed with this small thing, you're going to take on the whole lot because that's your allegiance now. And it's like, no, people are more discerning these days. We're not just going to follow everything you do because you said one thing right. And you should be fucking discerning at this point. You should get an in-depth view of what everyone's saying when they come to a position of power, because you need to use your critical thinking skills to understand where they're coming from, what they have access to, what influence, what's the ripple effect going to be, and how will it affect you, not only you, others around you, the world, the planet, the animals, everything. It's like everything has a knock-on effect. You need to know what you're signing up for. It would be ridiculous to blindly follow this point and not question anything, because that's how you get led into, some fucked up shit that you didn't sign up for. It's absurd. But leadership shouldn't be about how many people of your own you can send to fight to prove your point that ideologically you are right. It shouldn't be that. That's what they disguise, that's what they say patriotism is. You need to fight for your country. It's like most people when they get in the field are actually fighting for their life. Fuck the country. That's the practical sense of the word. You get out into that field, you don't give a fuck what country it is. You're gonna be like, I need to stay alive because the long sleep is fucking painful at this point and I don't want to do it. I don't have a toast to the hand, so we're not doing this. But it's survival instinct will kick in. And that's the thing, they'll feed you propaganda that you need to go to war for this ideology because this guy says it and you want to belong to this society and you pay your taxes and this is your job and you've been trained for it and all this extra shit. Once you get into the field, it's you against everything. It's not a case of I'm fighting for the ideology of Trump. It's a case of I'm getting shot at and I need to take cover. It would be ridiculous to start spouting MAGA shit in the field because somebody paid you to turn up. It would be ridiculous. I cannot understand for the life of me why these view that as patriotism. Patriotism is fallible, heavily fallible. And people who are not leading, are not following blindly, are looked down upon in that country, particularly America. In Australia, there's no real sense of patriotism. It hasn't been pushed on us because we haven't, defected from the UK. We're still part of the Commonwealth. That's the thing. That's Achilles' heel as well for the American people, I think, because they've built their politics and their social structure on freedom and getting away from the UK and the tyranny of oppressive princes and all that shit. If you read the Constitution, it probably puts it more eloquently than I could. But you've just let them in through the front door. You actively voted to put them into position at this point. You voted Trump to oppress you. If it's legally done, if it wasn't a fixed fight, So you've asked this person to fuck up your economy and healthcare and special needs stuff, and you've asked him to do it. He's recently called himself a king. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, didn't you escape the UK for that? So I find it interestingly hypocritical that he's suddenly the king of whatever. I'm going, no, they aren't going to sit for that, surely. I find it funny. It's ridiculous. We know they're different. They're not British. But I find that it's very Machiavellian. They make themselves princes in republics. It's like, have you read The Republic? Like, no, apparently you haven't. You might have looked at a YouTube video of it. It's quite thick. But you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to gain your independence from supposedly a tyrant and then go back to putting a tyrant in place of a tyrant. It doesn't make sense. You were supposed to be heading towards some kind of utopian civilization with, dare I say, more communist views and less dictatorial ones, but fuck that one. So I don't know what he was thinking. ultimately, if you view it as any other job, how many people have lied on their resume to get a job that they weren't qualified for and then got their buddies in once they got there? That's essentially what Trump's doing. He's not got any political degrees or understanding of how to run a country. He doesn't understand the Constitution. He knows of it because he's had it in school. Does he have any skills in understanding it? Is he a lawyer of any sort? You know, is he had any brush with politics that wasn't just a bunch of rednecks pointing at him and saying, he's famous, let's get him to do it. You know, and they like his aggressive tactics because they see non-aggressive people as weak. But if the aggression was turned on them, would they still like it? Doesn't make sense. As I said before, it's too much yang energy, not enough yin energy. All that rushing and fieriness is a facade. It never gets the job done. If anything, it breaks stuff. It's using dynamite on a mountain rather than an erosion process. You might break it up, yes, but at the same time, fuck knows where the lumps are going to go. What's going to happen? Is there a gas there? You know, it's too much effort, too much energy. When it was a competition between him and Biden, for example, now I'm not biased to any political party, I just don't like idiots. So I'm a pragmatist. I follow politics, I don't take sides. I'm more in line with like the humanitarian side of things. As I said with Ukraine, I feel bad for them because they got invaded. That was not a fair fight, but they got invaded and they're holding out, which I agree with. And they should win because it's just moral for them to win. When I look at two forces like Biden versus Trump, I'm going, yes, they're both fucking useless. Granted. But Biden was the lesser evil. You should have stuck with him. And not because, you know, he's a doddering old man, or he had, what was the name, Kamala? I'm sure it's Kamala. I can't say it right. I need to hear her say it. To back him up. I just think that he was too aggressive, Trump. He's just too aggressive. And you can see in the first week he's already cocked up several things. And so they're going, you got 4 years of this, where's this going? It's going nowhere. Can you bankrupt a country in 4 years? I think you can. I'm skeptical of where the money's going. I'm still very skeptical. And whilst Trump has so-called bankrupted himself 4 times, it's suspicious how easily he was able to climb back. So I do wonder where the money went each time he was bankrupt, so that he could bounce back each time so easily, it seems. And definitely it's not invested in, you know, offshore accounts in Panama or somewhere like that, right? So I'm bankrupt. Government clears his debts, he's bankrupt. Okay, so are you bankrupt? No, the money's over there. I'm just going to bring some of it back so I can reseed my businesses and get them running again. Either that, or he's got a shitload of dirt on people, and that's why he keeps getting extra money around him. Kind of like what Epstein did. Epstein had dirt on people, and that's how he kept his popularity and climbing up social ladders and things like that. It's all very sus and corrupt. Which is why I don't like celebrities, because they're all in on it. But, you know, it's ridiculous. These men they're not fit for government. They're not fit for service because they're corrupt. They do say, you know, the best king is a hesitant king. For example, someone who doesn't want the power. It's probably best because they won't do things in their own interest. They'll do things because they need to be done. That's why we encourage the idea of a hesitant king or queen. Because, you know, anyone who's that driven in the position generally has he put them in, essentially put them in a chokehold. He cornered them, told them to justify their jobs or be fired, and they quit. And I'm sitting there thinking, fair play. Unionize. That's why we have unions. Don't let him walk all over you. Now the threat here is he might get people from China who are willing to take more shit to work in Doge. Again, that's not good for the American people. Their jobs will be taken. As I said in the previous podcast, they're what's called scabs, where they'll take whatever job they can get. I said it about the Mexican people, but the Mexican people are escaping a horrible set of circumstances, so they're okay to come and do it. We don't mind that. I don't mind that. But coming from a country like China, which is seemingly developed compared to Mexico, should you get workers from there coming, it would be scabs. It would be the traditional terminology sense. Even though Trump supposedly hates China, he's stuck up their ass. Very odd. It's a very odd relationship. But you know, to fill their places, where would you get the workers from? Proletariat countries like India or China? Well, they're not. China's not proletariat, is it? I'm trying to think, because that's the thing. It's like if all of his workers just suddenly left, like just walked off the job, Dodge would fall. Dodge? It would just fall. It would fall in value. He's lost a load of his Tesla stock because he can't stop doing Roman salutes. And he's encouraging his mates to do it too. It's like, you're not right in the head, buddy. It's like, these are not the men we need in charge of the purse strings and the red button that goes bang bang, right? It's like, these are not the responsible ones that we want. They are loud people with a lot of a song and dance and glitter throwing up in the air and parades, but given the right timing, and should WW3 kick off, we don't want them in charge because they're mental. And they're not afraid of losing your life. It's not going to be their life doing it, because they're going to be stuck in their bunkers enjoying a good time while everything around them gets blown up. Shit leaders. It's like, did you see what happened when the Capitol Hill riots started? Now that was his own people. His own people came to see him, maybe expecting support from him. I don't know. He must have been in there. And what did he do? Went to bunker. They went for Pelosi and Biden. They didn't go to bunker. They got stuck in a back room. But Trump himself went to bunker. He ran the fuck away, and this was his own people. So I find that odd that he's a coward in that sense. He's only after himself. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if he wants to be someone like Churchill, which was meant to be this kind of stoic individual that got the Britons through the Second World War with strategy, because he was an ex-soldier and he'd done the job and worked his way up and got into the Prime Minister's position. Trump has no background in the warfare. He has no skills in warfare. He barely has any skills in business. Most of the time his business is dragged along by just knowing information about people, dragging them down if they don't comply to what he wants. That's not skill. That's just blackmail. It's like, I don't understand it. There's no skill to this. It's just collecting data. It's bullshit. There's no politics there. What they need to do, I don't know if America's trying to find some kind of reimagining of their independence from the world, because cross-global economics has made us all attached. We can't avoid that. We all got trade links. I mean, there's always been trade links, but now there's more than ever, and we're seeking to benefit each other by, keeping it going, and that kind of tends to keep war at bay as well. If we're friends politically, then we're less inclined to fight each other, right? He's trying to look for a reimagining of independence from the world in terms of trade relations, so he's putting tariffs on shit, which only seem to fuck over his own country, which are weird, because they actually pay the tax on it rather than the person having their product bought or sought out. So I'm assuming that's what he was trying to get at. The cost and demand thing. Well, it only screws his own people, it drives his economy into the ground. Because if nobody's buying on the inside of his country's walls, shall we say, then there's no money in circulation within his internal economy. It's not going to do any good, and it will starve the people. So I don't know what the fuck he's getting at. But his healthcare system's fucked as well. So when you fuck up their money, and you should never fuck with the people's pay. Never. That is their lifeblood. You never fuck with the people's pay. Don't. Just don't. Unless you want to get lynched. You just don't. Anyone who's had a day missed out on their wage slip knows, don't fuck with my pay. They know what it feels like. Especially now in the cost of living crisis. But you don't fuck with your people's pay. This is their lifeblood. This is the only reality they know, is even just having a job. A large chunk of people just exist within the mindset of my 30 centimeter vision. This is what I have to do today. This is what I have to do in a week. Don't ask me anything else. I'm too tired and busy. I'm just going to do this chunk now. As soon as you start throwing extra shit in, like, we're going to take more tax off you, or cost of living's gone up, or you're now spontaneously sick from shit because the US signed out of who, and now there's another COVID variant wave, and we didn't see it coming. Now everybody's dying. So now you need to do more work. Oh, and there's no healthcare services to compensate for the increase of sick people because we still haven't fixed the healthcare system. It's more stress on their day or week that they have to find time to pick up the slack of a shit government. And that will affect things like their pay as well. They're doing more work for less pay and less access to services that they need to feel stable and safe in their own society. You don't fuck with the people's pay. Because even if they need things like healthcare, shit as it is in that country, they still need to be able to pay for it. They need adequate food that is good food, for example, just to maintain a healthy body so they don't need to access that fucking healthcare. There's so much ripple effect going on. Whereas if you fuck with their 30 centimeter vision, they're just that small allotment. Don't fuck with my small allotment in a day. I'm already stressed. It will piss them off more, put more stress on the government. So I don't know why he's not seeing how the everyday person might react to these stupid fucking policies. It's like, how are you not seeing this? And you know how? Because he's never had to live it. He's never come to terms with welfare lines, food stamps, war in itself. He's heard of it. He's never been in it. He's never come to terms with it. He sees men or people that have gone to war as brave soldiers, patriots, because it's the bullshit he's been fed. If he was a soldier, maybe he would understand what it actually is and the shit they have to go through. He is willing to huff the abstract concept of what it is to be a citizen, but never actually be it. Because he's raised rich. He went to, I don't know, where did he go? Uni? Did he go Harvard or anything? Or is he just went straight into business? I don't know his background. I'm going to have to Google it. Although there's a series of, documentaries on, where is it? Documentaries on Netflix, some shit probably, that sort of can defy his reality as one big PR stunt. So I might Google those. They're fun to laugh at. I hope it includes instances where he's grabbing people by the pussy, because that's acceptable totally. You're just the worst fucking leader ever, and not in a scary kind of way, just kind of in an embarrassing way. And the world's laughing at him because he does stupid stuff, which he does to garner MAGA support, who are idiots in themselves. So it's like, it's a weird kind of social wart, a verruca maybe, a plantar wart, with him at the head and the MAGA people at the root, that eventually it's just gonna get pulled out and thrown away. These are weird analogies. don't get me started about the Middle East. There's a bunch of weirdos too. I don't understand that either. I'm trying to understand who's in allegiance with who at this point, because I seem to be seeing on a political stage a lot of turncoats who claim to be doing one thing, waving that flag, but also waving another one, and then crossing them over to fuck the people. I'm seeing, they're all back, like, I swear, America, Israel, Russia, and possibly China all together. Belarus is with Russia because they've been in their pace since this fucking Ukrainian thing went off. Europe in itself is generally alone with itself. Italy's looking for allies in the European set, and they should. Japan's allies with Australia and Britain. We've just done a big deal about, I think, subs or buildings or something like that with Japan. They've just sunk a shitload of money into our economy, so it's like, yes, we're definitely friends. See, it's those kind of things that keep people from fighting. Friendly relations where we can rely on each other for resources. But bear in mind, as soon as you start putting tariffs on things like resources, people are going to go somewhere else to sell their product. They did it with the Australian ore. I think China did it with the ore or wines or something like that. And we just sold it to someone else. It's like, and they said, oh, we're not going to buy your shit. And we know, okay, we sold it to someone else. It's like, it doesn't work to use things like that as a threat, because there are so many other peoples that will buy it. To assume that you hold that kind of a power is stupid, because it's a fear of missing out. You're hoping to play on someone's fear of missing out, but in reality, you can sell it to someone else. It's very strange. Ooh, Jurassic Park. Someone's got a hubcap for their tie things. Jurassic Park, old school Jurassic Park. I find it interesting. I can't justify war. I know I'm rambling, but I can't justify it anymore. I mean, it's a very primal, animalistic way of solving problems. It doesn't make sense. We just exchange sticks and rocks for bombs now. It's stupid. Or rather, exchange shit for bombs. Instead of throwing shit, we're throwing bombs. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's embarrassing. It's like you haven't evolved towards a state of civilization where we can figure things out without embarrassing ourselves and covering ourselves and others and shit. It just seems odd. These men are Neolithic. I don't understand it. The women in the background either getting fucked over by these men or just looking at them like, this is just fucking stupid. No, we're not signing up for this shit. We're too busy. Too busy doing stuff. Trying to prove that we can be, people in society and recognized as human beings. You know what it is maybe a patriarchal society where they've got too much time, money, and power on their hands, and now they're just bored and picking fights. If you're constantly, as like a woman, trying to prove that you have the right to exist as a human being in equality with men, you're using all your time up just for that. All your energy, just trying to work and exist and trying to represent. We don't have time to start wars. We're too busy trying to survive. There's an idea. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that. It's strange. It's such a male thing as well to be starting wars. I mean, how many females have started wars? How many females have had a chance to get into positions of power to start wars? It's just strange. It's odd. It's a very male thing to pick a fight like that. The aggression. And it's part of the culture as well. You'll find that boys, in terms of gender norms and gender roles, if we still follow those, I don't. Gender roles specifically. Are sold products that are to promote aggression. Boys should want soldiers and trucks. Dinosaurs that are angry and they eat people and shit like that. And girls should want fairy horses and Barbies, because all you want to do is have kids and shit like that. And it's like, no. I mean, I wasn't raised that way. I was raised around military shit my entire life because both my dad and my brother are into wargaming and shit like that. I was surrounded by tanks from a young age. My granddad Bob used to fix Centurions. My granddad Fred was in the fucking Marines. It's like, I've always been around war. It's like, I didn't have a Barbie, so we can't blame the gender roles. Really. It's like, I have no inclination to pick a war, to start a war. I don't know. And I was around that shit a lot. Not that I was ever in a war or wanted to sign up to a soldier's thing. I've got a degree in international. I know I always talk about the degrees. I don't use them. I've got a degree in social sciences, which is international. Oh Christ, what's his full name? It's security and international relations with a minor in criminology. Do I ever use it? No, unless when I'm dumping on this. It's bullshit. I can watch wars from a distance and understand what's going on and who's going where and who's going to pick on someone and why and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting in that way. But would I start one because I know how to start one? No, because it's ridiculous. It's an obsolete practice. Obsolete practice that shouldn't be around anymore. It just breaks stuff and kills people. It doesn't fix anything. A lot of people are claiming to fight back in defense. Obviously there is some defense, but at the same time the politicians are putting on a mask of it's defending your country against someone, where realistically they went out on the offensive. I mean, they do say the best form of defense is attack. It's like, well, why would you knowingly start a fight? It's a waste. Oh my god, it seems to be, I'm hoping it just dies out, to be honest. I mean, it's been around for millennia, but it's getting very fucking old. What I'm sick of seeing is the amount of technology that's meant to be for the betterment of humanity being weaponized as well. That's getting alarming. We've already supposedly signed off on not using anything like germ warfare or biochemical warfare. We've signed off on this apparently, and yet we have instances like COVID being released into the population. We've still got some people in some of the wars still using chemical attacks, which are against the Geneva Conventions. You're not allowed to use those. Landmines aren't against the Geneva Conventions, but they should have been signed off not to use, because civilians were getting blown up because they would plant them in these mass fields, like farmers' fields, and then post-war or post-conflict, the farmers would go out and accidentally tread on them. So those should be, outlawed, but they're not, but they should be. That's part of it. There's so many things that are not needed anymore, and the only people that stand to benefit from this kind of shit are the arms dealers. Those already in the 1% who are safe in their bunkers and ivory towers and have actually got a horse in the race, that is the economy driving wars. And politicians who use their people's corpses as badges for, passing policies. Wear enough people on your shirt, people believe that your cause is a worthy one. It's stupid. It's bullshit. If they were that, if they believed that much in their own cause, they'd be in the fields. They would be in the trenches. They would be fighting for the cause themselves. They would not be hiding somewhere in a bunker and trying to lie to people to convince them to fight for them. That is a sign of good leadership. That's why I like Zelensky at this point, because he's actually doing the groundwork and he believes in the cause. When they hide away and let other people do their dirty work, it's conniving, it's shit. You're not a leader, you're a manipulator, a puppet master. And it's not something to be proud of, it's dishonorable. You don't stand behind your own belief, you don't stand on your own word or your own actions, you'd rather get someone else to take the punch for you. It's stupid, it's cowardly, definitely dishonorable. I wonder how many you know, political factions in the Middle East, for example, who, you know, like the Arabs are very honourable. Supposedly, we don't know. I don't know. This could be a PR stunt, a wonderful PR stunt. But supposedly in their cultures, I would like to know how many people in these honour cultures would actually get involved with these leaders who are acting the fool on TV for the sake of money. It's like, at what point can you sell your honour? I don't know. It's like, how ingrained in your own integrity are these people? Like, if they want to get involved in anything that's a war-based practice, I'd stand on the edges. Myself, I'd stand on the edges. I'm a pragmatist myself, because I know and I can see the politicians lie, and I'm watching what they do, not what they say. And that's how you can tell if they're full of shit or not. They can tell us any old story they want at the start. We're going to make the price of eggs cheaper, we're going to make petrol cheaper, we're going to give you, I don't know, whatever they promise to give you. They never do. So watch what they do instead of what they say, is what I'm saying. So if they say this is our cause, that's the villain you should go fight for, our sense of patriotism against those people, I would first question what they stand to gain from this aggression, rather than go blindly into it. What is it? Don't go blindly into that dark night. I love that poem. Fight hard. I've got to Google. I can't remember what it's called. It's not Invictus, is it? No. It's a good poem. It's one of those Anzac-y ones. We should definitely critically examine what they stand to gain from this swaying of mass consensus in order to get people to fight. Where's my phone going? Piss off. That is my phone going. I'm going to have to switch off soon. What I will say is, to summarize, because I'm nearly there anyway, war is not good. It is a failure of leadership. It is a pissing contest between mainly men, designed to garner support from the masses. Maybe they want a power trip, maybe the extension of ego, maybe they got really low self-esteem but they won't admit it, so they want everybody else's external validation and support by laying down their lives for the sake of their ego. They're just using the political vehicle to try and get it going. You all love me, right? No, we don't. You're lying to us in order to get us to do things. It's bullshit. If these leaders really loved their people and really were concerned, they would work together, cohesively, to support each other and to ensure that the people aren't suffering. That's it. They don't care. As soon as you see a country going to war, it is ego-based. It's never a concern for the people. They might say it is. But understand, before every war or conflict, there was always a run-up. There's always a run-up. There's always an exchange of words, exchange of pieces of paper. There are several hundreds of chances to avoid it before it occurs. It is rarely a spontaneous thing. You could have responded to a threat, maybe, before it blossomed into an outright conflict in a better way than they did. Their job is to keep us safe. War is not keeping us safe. War is not keeping the other people safe. Their leaders failing. So as soon as we can recognize that war should be obsolete, the better. Because if we get rid of that, then actually maybe we can save our economies, maybe we can get healthy, maybe we can work on better projects than weaponizing fucking everything, you know? Diseases, we could cure cancer if we stop trying to make so many, you know, disease weapons. You know, it's like all our funding and all our attentions are being manipulated by fear set up by the government to encourage us to want to constantly have a sense of needing to defend ourselves. When realistically, if the politicians were doing their job, we wouldn't have to defend ourselves. That's their job. That's like going to a restaurant and expecting to have to go out back and fucking make your own food. It's no, that's your job. We pay the taxes, so you figure it out. That's their job. And right now what they're lying and saying you have to go fight. It's like, no, we don't. You have to figure it out with politics. That's why we pay you. That's the crux of it. It's easier to make people fight each other, to make it look like the politicians are actually doing something than actually doing the paperwork that's needed to get the job done. You know, Anyway, I'm gonna have to leave it there. I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. I will keep you posted with regards to how my dad's going if you're interested. If not, I'm still gonna crap on about it because it's something interesting for me, seemingly. Take it easy. If you are facing any kind of a conflict, please find a peaceful way of doing this, sorting it out. Aggression isn't the best policy. Everybody ends up getting hurt. Anyone whose intention is to outright hurt someone, I would ask if they're a fucking psychopath, because it's not within our own human survival drive to seek out pain. Anyone with common sense knows that if you punch someone, they're probably going to punch you back. So it doesn't make sense to, you know, create aggressive environments for anyone. So why go looking for a fight? Why try making a fight? It's just stupid. Anyway, it's just shower thoughts. I'll see you guys another time, hopefully, with a different topic. And I know I dribbled a bit, so have a good Sunday and take it easy.